Jaya Jaya! Welcome to this live video. The topic that I want to cover right now is how to master your sexual or your erotic fire. So I just got a question from a friend on Facebook, and the question is this. It is, when I feel the erotic resonance kicking in inside of me and my girlfriend or my partner is not into it. So that works for both men and women, right? You can be aroused, you can be turned on, and then realize that there isn't a space available for you to play within the erotic field at that moment. So the question is, what do you do? We are going to put that into the context of what it means to be a human being. A lot of what we are doing on this planet is taming our animal or instinctual nature. For instance, we tame ourselves when it comes to the nutrition and to the food that we eat. We tame ourselves when it comes to the way we lead our lives. It means that we create social structures, behaviors to actually tame our animal or instinctual nature. So when it comes to sexual energy, imagine that we have this erotic fire inside of us. And if we were just expressing it completely in free flow, it would be a mess on this planet. This is why we have some social structures, some form of sexual conditioning to give us some frames about what's okay and what is not. So over the last couple of thousand years, we have been locking our sexual energy within frames that, in my opinion, become slightly too restrictive. There are lots of shame, there is lots of guilt, and then there is distortions and shadows about how the sexual is being used. It means that you will have traumas, you will have abuse, you will have rape, you will have all sorts of behaviors that are not okay for us as human race. So now that we have the general context, the goal here is for us to be sexual masters, to be masters of our sexual energy. Sexual mastery, or what I call vital sex mastery, is the idea of taming and directing our sexual fire at will. So imagine that you are at home and suddenly you have this rush of sexual desire and there is no channel or no way for you to express it and direct it in positive ways. What are you going to do with it? What is happening at that moment is you are being enslaved by an impulse that you don't control. You are not being master of your sexual fire, but you are being enslaved for it. So the goal right there is to take back direction and take back control. So there are different things that you can do at that moment. One of them is to redirect the sexual energy. If you feel like there is an overflow of sexual fire inside of you, what you can do is, for instance, direct it into, for instance, physical training. This will be deflecting the sexual fire and directing it in a different way. Another one would be engaging with your partner in sexual or sensual ways, but instead of aiming for intercourse, penetration, peak orgasm, you aim for something that might be way softer. It might be gentle touch. It might be give a receiver session. It might be breathing together. It might be a set of tantric techniques that you can start applying with your partner straight away. Another one might be engaging to self-pleasure, self-exploration, or self-nurturing techniques. So when I say self-pleasure, it doesn't mean hardcore masturbation, okay? It means something way, way softer and way, way more powerful to give a channel of expression for this erotic fire that is alive inside of you. Another way to direct or to use that sexual energy is simply to pause. What you can do is lay down on the ground or on your bed and you put a pillow under your neck over here so that you have really an opening of your chest, and then you start engaging into what I call water breath. So the water breath will be open your mouth and you breathe in really slowly in and out. So it sounds like this. And you breathe in and out for a few minutes. So what this does is, instead of you responding to the fire, what you're doing is you are feeling what is inside of you. Instead of being trapped into responding to the impulse, you are going to open space and allow for that erotic energy to circulate throughout your being. And so what happens when, with all of these techniques, what we are doing is, instead of narrowing sexual expression to something that is directed exclusively towards penetration, towards intercourse, having sex, passionate sex, and then having ejaculation or an orgasm, what we want is really to open a wide range of possibilities, so that when you engage into sexual exchange, you have a vast set of possibilities to engage with your partner. So this is really what I encourage you to do. I encourage you to check this out and simply start expanding the range of possibilities. So what this requires us as well is to stretch a little bit your comfort zone. Instead of being narrowed within the practices that you already know, what you want is to expand your range of motion when it comes to the use of your sexual energy. So again, the ultimate goal here is to master your sexual fire. If you put that within a mystical context, you know about the Greek god Eros, so it is about mastering Eros inside of you. Erotic comes from Eros, right? So it is the god of sex and love. And so the goal is really to be able to play with these energies without being enslaved by them. As you can see, I didn't point out to the strategy of suppression or trying to block it, because deep inside I believe that that one doesn't work. Just suppressing, trying to push your sexual fire down, I think will create more damage and more distortion in your sexual energy than anything else. It's a little bit trying to put a lid on a volcano that is ready to explode. Guess what's going to happen? Eventually the lava, the pressure is going to keep on building up, and eventually you are going to explode in ways that are way more destructive than if you had learned ways of channeling your sexual fire and sexual energy. This is a vast exploration, of course. Tantric sex and sexual mastery is really an art. It's not just engaging with your brain in linear fashion. It is like exploring. Sometimes creating this emotional release that I talked about is going to be a very powerful way of channeling your sexual fire. But sometimes what you need is something that might be more dynamic. Sometimes working out or jumping in the cold ocean or going surfing might rechannel or redirect your sexual fire in ways that are really powerful and exciting. So approach it a little bit like like an art, definitely, and play with it and explore, communicate clearly with your partner, and realize as well that if you are in the mood for sex all the time and your partner is not, then of course, there will be a dissonance there and a lack of compatibility on the long term with your partner. If, that can potentially be a deal breaker, of course, for your relationship. But if it's just a matter of time, and alignment, then have communication, open communication also with your partner to understand what their needs are, how they position yourselves when it comes to sexual activity, and how you can build up a container together to feel completely safe and aligned with the expression of your full potential of your erotic fire. Okay, that's it for today's live video. I hope this answers very cool questions. And if you like what you see over here today, just post in the comments, send me some more questions, and I'll try to highlight for you what else is alive in the field of tantric sex and vital sex. If you want more of that, go to my website, vitalcoaching.com/tantric sex. I've got about 200 videos over there, instructional directions, ideas, a couple of ebooks, dozens of articles, and sets of audios as well. And of course on Facebook, my page, professional page, Vital Tantra. Reach out if you have any questions. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Greetings and big kisses from Bali. Jaya Jaya.